Cole DeRosa, how you doing, brother?
Sully, my man, my
Hey,
brother from
hey,
another mother. It's
man,
good to
hard to
finally
believe it's
link
almost
up.
been a week.
A week, can you believe that? We were out there in Northwest Arkansas, or depending on how you look at geography, central eastern Oklahoma, right on the border in the middle of the woods, doing good things, learning, sweating it out. So yeah.
Yeah, absolute good times, and it was a pleasure meeting you. Um, I have one question right off the bat, and it's because it was kind of grinding my gears, not grinding my gears, but just on my mind the entire time we were together and getting to know each other. But what does a quiet professional mean to you?
Hmm. I think that can accomplish a lot of things. If I look at on my profession, being in the military, though, you can be a quiet professional and not be part of the armed services or police department or fire department. A quiet professional is, me, you're okay in your skin.
Hmm.
Um, you've become a professional in whatever trade or skill that is what makes part of you. Maybe for me, it was the military as an infantryman. So being proficient in those skills. So that means offensive operations, defensive operations, stability and support operations, and all the nuances goes with that. So if you're going to be a true professional in something, you need to be professional in that trade of what you're doing, and not just skating by and just knowing the bare minimum. So when you're a true professional in your trade, that just comes with a set of confidence. The quiet professional piece of that is you don't have to tell everybody what you know. Um, that's going to come across in normal communication or dialogue or working together with your team or just daily functions and activities and tasks that would normally happen. And I think there's no need to prove yourself then because you will prove yourself as being a good team member or contributing to the task at hand or your job. So.
Yeah, brother. And the reason I asked that question kind of right off the bat is because you were elected to give our class speech, right? And Hunter, I was so surprised. He's just like by one of the biggest margins that somebody was elected to give the class speech. And I noticed it throughout the entire 3 week course we were together is that you commanded the room when you walked in, but it wasn't a hey, look at me kind of commanding the room. It was a quiet, just kind of interested and not necessarily saying anything, but always attentive to kind of everybody in the room. And was that curated through your 29 years of military service on starting in the enlisted side and then going to the O side? How do you think you evolved into that person that could just command that presence in that room without necessarily saying anything?
Yeah, let me say I was extremely humbled, by the class, you know, voting me to, provide that graduation speech. At first you're like, hey, we've all been driving and hoeing a tough 19, 20 days of hours of grinding, 12, 15, 16, 17-hour days. People realize how much we had to get accomplished in that very short period of time, as well as our own personal training and supporting other tasks outside of the course. And so come the last day, we were like, all right, man, we're out. Time to graduate tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, now you hear, oh, you got one more task, Cole DeRosa. You're going to have to write this graduation speech. And so, one,
You're
you're
welcome.
humbled. And two, you're like, you just want to sit back and relax. But ultimately, no, it's a good thing. And I'm sure, you've talked about this before. It's good to be uncomfortable, that makes you better. And ultimately, I was extremely, humbled and taken back by that gesture to just represent our class. One, to say thanks to our class, and two, to be a sounding board or someone who could speak on behalf of our class to the instructors and tell them thank you for a job well done. So, to your question, yeah, I think some definitely has, no, I would say a lot definitely has to do with my military background, and it can be applied to anybody in whatever profession. As anytime, you're in a situation where there are leaders and there's workers or doers, you're going to see good leaders, you're going to see not so good leaders. I hate to use the word bad leaders. military says toxic leaders, and there's a lot of things that can make a leader toxic. So, but the great thing about seeing and being involved with interacting with both leaders in your careers is there's things you want to things you want to take away. And when I meet somebody and I have relationships with them, professional, personal, I've always looked at ways, what can I take away? What do I want to emulate? Hey, that's a great quality to have. And one of the things early on that I saw was that term, before I understood it, that quiet professional. It is someone who, as you stated, doesn't need to be loud and boisterous and wear their rank on their collar or their sleeve to let them know, hey, I'm in charge here, even though our class didn't have someone in charge. So, but I wanted to make sure in my career that there's a time to be in charge and there's a time just to be a good teammate. You can still be in charge and be a good teammate. You don't have to continue to, hey, stand on top of the hilltop. Please look at me. I'm the leader. Because I'm the leader, do what I say. Or when I walk in the room, I expect, people to stand up or no, announce me coming in. But no, I think that I learned to understand and emulate that quiet professional meaning, and especially when you move into special operations community, there's a lot of incredible leaders, and not just officers, non-commissioned officers as well, and those who have accomplished a lot, were very successful, and yeah, I think they just have a presence about themselves of, competence, pride. They know what they've done. They know what they contribute. When it's time to step up or be a leader, they can be that guy or gal and step right up to be a leader. And I think, yeah, just growing up, or, throughout the military, you learn to emulate, those qualities, those traits of leaders that I've interacted with in my career, and quiet professionalism is definitely part of that. And I'm sure being an enlisted guy, I got to see at the very, lower ranks looking up, um, a lot of great leaders and some that were, let's just say, were challenged at being leaders. So, that helped shape me as if one day I became a leadership position. Again, what are some of those values that I want to take away and instill as I shape being a leader truly is to me.
Hmm. So serving 8 years in the military was one of the biggest blessings of my life, and I can only imagine the 29 years that that you served. I I'm kind of interested on your take here, hearing all that you just went through and seeing all the trophies, and obviously like you were a tremendous athlete. What is it? It was it number one or number two age group for Spartan race, and then number two for High Rocks, if I remember correctly.
So I'm the four-time age group world champion in for Spartan. That's
Mm-hmm.
three times in Greece, one time in Abu Dhabi. I have podiumed every time in Abu Dhabi, but second, third, and I only missed one first place in Trifecta World Championship Greece. I got second place one year by 19 seconds with the overall combined score. And then High Rocks second in
Mm-hmm.
Worlds in Manchester. And my partner and I, who do doubles, were first in North American, or
Well,
doubles champion.
so now that we have
Second.
established that you're an absolute stud, um, I'm just one of the main lessons that I had to learn on my path to being a quiet professional. I know I'm still working. I think we're all still working,
Yeah.
but was the lesson of how to follow before I could lead. Did did you have to learn that lesson coming in a young kid? I know I was 19 when I came in, full of piss and vinegar, athlete, just like number one in the town, and then all of a sudden it's just like everybody's number one in the town. Did you ever have to learn that lesson?
Yeah. I think that's what's great about just humanity.
It's
We're
gonna
going to
get you.
trip up. We're going to trip up. You're going to be involved in situations where, yeah, you're not the king, you're not the best, because there's levels to everything. For instance, I may be an age group world champion in Spartan, and then I run mostly elite in the regional. And you know, though I'm decent at hitting a regional elite podium, there are levels, and it's
Mm.
everything. And there are guys that are just out there beast mode on the course, but that's what makes me, that's what makes us better. It keeps our fire burning hot normally, and it keeps those goals correct, and it gives us something to strive for. But yeah, multiple times in the military, you realize, hey, um, yeah, let's take a step back. There's always something to learn. There's always a term in the military. I'm sure you've heard it. I think I just mentioned earlier. To be a good leader, you got to be a good follower first. And even leaders need to follow, because just because you're a leader doesn't mean you know it all. Doesn't mean you stop learning. Doesn't mean you stop growing. And so you can take things away from an adjacent leader. You can take things away from someone, echelons below you. And I've done that at every, whether I was a squad leader, in E5, there's privates, first classes that, taught me a better way to maybe do something more efficiently, whether it's in maneuvering, weapons, something in motor pool, and all the way up the chain. I always made myself available, even as a company commander, preparing a infantry company into combat in Afghanistan. Um, Being available, getting down there and understanding what, soldiers and, lower enlisted and my team is doing, helps me learn from them. And so, yeah, it really just is about being open and knowing that you never stop learning, um, and accept the fact that you don't know everything.
Mm. Yeah, life is truly about just learning from everything, right? Um, and along those lines, you said something funny in your speech. It was the three B's, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was the first time I actually ever heard it. So if for the people, could you go through the three B's really quick?
Yeah, three B's. Three B's stand for be brilliant, be brief, and be gone. Um, I'm going to apply that how it was for the military, but I think there's really, when you unpackage it, application for everybody in everybody's profession. So ultimately, in the military, there's opportunities to brief very senior level military officials. We're talking 4-star, 3 and 4 star, combatant commands, SOCOM combatant commands, Central Command, Secretary of Defense. I've had to brief during the whole global war terror, and senior leaders, and that, 1 to 2 star generals would say, hey, all right, you got 5 minutes. 5 minutes to tell them everything you know.
Oh,
Remember about this subject.
yes, yes.
So they say 3 B's. The 3 B's, yeah. Be brilliant. So be prepared, know what you're talking about, use the appropriate language, right? Be brief. In other words, be very concise, and then get out. And it's not that the general didn't have, or that senior leader doesn't have a lot of time, which they don't. They have to be briefed by a lot of people. But it's more really, when you look at the totality of it, step back, it's making you a better briefer. We've all had conversations with somebody where they just seem to ramble, and you're like, hey, get to the point, get to the point. The 3 B's is something we can all take away. No matter what discussion you're going to have, whether it's your boss at Walmart or in a gym and you want to raise, lay it out. What are my key points? I want these 4 points here. So that's the, be brief piece, right? The concise. Be brilliant is tell them up front, hey, this is what I need. Be direct, and then you're out of there. Leave the time at the back end for questions, or that may have, or further interactions. So the 3 B's, yeah, be brilliant, be brief, be gone. But I think it has application well outside the military for everybody. Research what you're going to say, be concise, say it. Yeah, and that's it.
I like I said, the first time I ever heard that was from you, so I'm definitely going to steal that going forward. Even if it's just organizing for a podcast or organizing for
Yeah,
asking for a raise for somewhere. It's amazing how that can be applicable to everything. Um,
absolutely.
Along those lines, though, it literally this question popped into my head as you were talking. Right now in the world, we're kind of living a dichotomy because we are told to, sit down, shut up, kind of fit in, but then also the high performers are the ones that don't fit in and push the limits and are up at 4 a.m. and pushing sleds, and the military kind of has a term for this. They say be gray man. So
Mm.
society's telling us to be gray man, sit down, shut up, fit in, but those aren't necessarily the people that are brilliant, concise, to the point, and then go get kind of their goals, dreams, and aspirations. Could you like, just kind of talk on that? Like, why being gray man at times is like, need to do it, but then other
Yeah.
times, like, you need to step out and go.
Yeah. No, I think that's super good point, and it can be extremely confusing. I look at a gray man. If you look in a crowd, if you see someone wearing bright red or bright, whatever color, they stick out. So if we put our mind at that in a crowd, someone who's wearing gray doesn't stick out. That kind of comes back and ties into being that quiet professional. Don't always need to be the ones standing atop the chair, trying to be the loudest, trying to get our point across, trying to make everybody believe our point or to listen to us. There's not always a need for that. Sometimes you are a part of a team. That's
Mm-hmm.
that being that gray man, I think, in a ways that, you don't always have to be the one, sticking out the loudest, one most heard in a room. Now, with that, yeah, you absolutely, though, still want to set yourself apart from others and potentially in whatever job that you may be doing, but you can do that in a way that's not putting people down. You can do it in a way that's not derogatory to others. So it is a balancing, and that is the art, really, of it is knowing when you have to turn it on a little bit. Okay, now's the time to step up, or now's the time just to be okay, be part of the masses, be a good team member. And that's, yeah, I would say that's kind of the, the balancing act, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
From what I'm hearing is like, be capable.
yeah, yeah, be capable.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And that comes from the early mornings, the sharpening your axe, finding the books to read,
Yeah.
finding the mentors, and things like that.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, sharpen your axe. That leads me to a good point. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is growth. You never stop learning. In the military, we've used terms always improve your position, right? Your fighting position. That comes back to a combat arms guy who digs a foxhole in offensive or defensive position. It's never enough. So we get it to a point where, okay, it's sustainable. It's going to protect us. Then we go to the other priorities work. Well, when we have time, we go back to our fighting position. And now we're improving. Okay, now we're going to put some fortification over the top in case we have a mortar. Okay, we got it to that point. We got other tasks. Let's shift focus, knock out this 50-meter target task. When we have time, we're going to go back to our fighting position. Now we're going to improve it again. Now I want to conceal it a little better. Put some vegetation on it. And so it's this term of always improving your foxhole or your fighting position. And I use that in everyday life. So what am I doing to get better? Um, Growth is, and our potential is really unlimited when you think about it, whether it's fitness, spiritual, mental, knowledge. Um, and I think you have to be part of that or continue to sharpen that axe. Because everything in life, you're not just staying what we call a homeostasis or line. You're either decreasing or you're improving. It's very hard just to stay at a constant level, if you will.
Yes, Ed Milet, I think, talks about that. He calls it the thermostat of life, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're below that homeostasis, sometimes you're above it, and like that, it's constantly going like that. And I think the key is to by sharpening that axe, you're actually raising that level of homeostasis to where you're just building and building and building, if you're doing it
Yeah.
right.
And you're very well potentially raising the sharpness of everyone around you
Mm.
because they are going to absorb some of that new information that you may have because you're going to apply it to them, or they're going to see you're doing something a certain way, or speaking a certain way, or acting a certain way, and so you end up really raising the water around you as well.
I love that, and I think the way that you do it, we when I was introduced to this, I was walking through the classroom and I heard you talking about the ABCs of racing, right?
Mm.
But when I heard the ABCs of racing, I'm like, oh, that idea can be used for everything. It could be used in a boardroom. It can be used for coaching. It can be used for giving a speech in front of some high schoolers. So if you would be kind enough to walk the people through the ABCs of racing at that time is when you were talking about it, but I would say the ABCs of life. I'm going to give you the floor to do that.
Yeah, so that's good. We'll unpackage that a little bit. I do think it's important, and I'll talk why. And I will apply it specifically to racing. We'll just say Spartan racing, because a lot of people are familiar with that, and it gives a vision of obstacles and running and things you have to accomplish, and then like you said, it can be applied to everyday life. So simple enough, ABCs of ABC goals applied to racing. Um, it's about setting goals. The first thing is we already understand goals drive change, right? It gives us focus. It can adjust training. It keeps us on track. It keeps us accountable. So let's use Spartan race. Say, hey, I want to do a Spartan race. Well, you got to put a goal. First step is, hey, let me put it on the calendar somewhere. Yep. Houston, or Atlanta in March. It's a beast. Have I ever done one? Okay, let's say yes. Okay, I want to try the beast, not just the super and the sprint. I've done the sprint, I've done the super. I want that beast. So my goal, overarching, is going to be Atlanta, Spartan, and March. Okay, so good. So the reality is goals should be tough, right? Because if they're easy and we can easily knock them down, what's really going to drive that change? What's going to drive us to get better? What's going to give us the accountability to sharpen that knife or improve our fighting position? So we have to be, one, honest with ourselves and the goals. It needs to be achievable and feasible, but it needs to be tough. Now, if I say by next week I want to, be able to box jump 64 inches, and currently I can only box jump 48 is my max, it's not feasible or achievable. Now, could we get there? Maybe in a year. It means we also may need to get a trainer, do some specialized. Yes, but so I just say goals should be tough. They should be achievable. Now, for goals to be tough, that means sometimes we're going to swing and we're going to miss the ball. But that's the great thing about goals, because goals should be tough. If we're hitting every goal 100% of the time, we're probably not challenging ourselves enough. And so then we need to reframe our thought and say, no, I got better potential. Let's move this next goal. And that's where the concept of something I like to talk to my fellow athletes about, and personally myself, having B and C goals. So you got A goal, B goal, and C goal. So I'll unpackage that. So an A goal, for instance, would be for Spartan Race Atlanta. For me, I want top three in the elite. So as a 50-year-old guy, I'm in the elite field for most of my races outside of U.S. National and World Championships. I don't run an age group. I run an elite where there are no ages. All those triangles are elite trophies, minus a couple of championships where there's no age discrimination. So I'm racing against a collegiate guy, D1 potentially athlete, who 20 years old and is fast. Um, I'm racing against some incredible athletes. So for me, that's my high goal. My number one goal is going to always be the A goal. Then I'm going to set a B goal, because that is a very tough goal to get. That B goal is, hey, I wanted 100% obstacle completion. And anybody who's done a Spartan knows it could be rainy, it could be cold, it could be muddy, and obstacles could be a challenge. The spear throw is always a challenge, and now it comes with 30 burpees again this year. So no penalty loop. So, hey, I want 100% obstacle completion. And C, I fall back. I want to do it because I'm racing hard. I want to make sure I finish this race uninjured. That's the key, next piece. So you take all those goals, and so at the end of the day, once you are complete with that race, Maybe I didn't hit top three in the elite. But you know what? I had 100% obstacle completion success. That means everything I did also not only worked towards the A goal, I'm simultaneously working towards that B goal, which means I have to work, strength training in the gym, obstacle proficiency, etc. And then I did it uninjured, which, so you always, at the end of the day, maybe I missed that A goal, but then I can fall back and say, you know what? But I got B and C. I'm motivated. I'm going to get back at it and, maybe look at training or doing whatever the case may be to continue on my path to hit my A goal. And then I'm going to readjust and say, okay, my next A goal for this next race, whatever it may be. So A, B, and C, because we don't want to limit our potential. That's the first thing. A lot of people will say, and we heard it in class, I just want to make it to the start line. I mean, that's like saying, I just want to wake up in the morning. We're better than that, right?
Yeah.
We're better than that. So when you're making your goals, don't just make it something that is so easy and achievable. Push yourself. I'm okay with someone saying, I just want to finish. Now, is that your A goal, B goal, or C goal? So I tell people, okay, that you just want to finish. Have you ever finished a Spartan race? Have you ever done one? Have you ever raced any time before? Well, yeah. Well, then we know you can finish. So make that your C goal. Don't make that your A goal. Make your primary goal that you want to target and push yourself maybe top 20 or top 50 in my age group. Make it something challenging. And if you miss it, that's okay because you've got two other goals that are still challenging. That's going to, drive you, and show, what? Hey, this was successful and all this training wasn't for naught because you didn't hit your A goal.
So taking that, and it makes complete sense, and I absolutely love it. Society today is just like, well, you either have a goal and you hit it or you don't,
Yeah.
right? And I can't remember who said it. Maybe you can, but it's moving from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm, right? So it kind of sounds like by having an ABC goal, like sure, maybe you don't hit that A goal, but that's not necessarily considered a failure. Yes, you didn't hit that goal, but you're hitting your B and your C goal, or even if you just hit your B goal, that's still a success moving in the right direction.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, because if you set a tough goal, it is hard, and should be tough. And if you only have an A goal and you continue to miss, psychologically, that just stacks, and that can stack negatively upon you. Like, why am I going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get this workout in? Because shit, yeah, I was nowhere near, top 20% in my age group or top 10%, or I missed that elite podium by 10 seconds. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm too old or, whatever. I'm too slow. But you're right. Having those B and C goals still lets you know that, hey, this was successful. Um, I'm still driven. I still, have had everything that I did was purposeful. And yeah, so that's a good way yeah, get concise and sum it up.
I love that. Now let's take it into real life. So, because I know you a little bit and I see the red, white, and blue logo up right there, one of the greatest organizations for veterans and even not even veterans, just
Yeah.
greatest organizations out there, if you ask me, nonprofits. You have an Old Glory run coming up.
Yeah.
So, that's taking a single flag continuously from San Diego, running from San Diego all the way to DC, correct?
Hmm.
So, using the ABC, what would a breakdown of taking the flag from San Diego to DC look like in the Old Glory run?
Yeah. Now, if you wouldn't mind, could I say a little more about Team RWB just for someone who may not be knowledgeable in it?
Honestly, yes, the
Oh,
floor is yours because even somebody that's been around it a little bit, I would
yeah.
love to know more. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, no, you just hit it. You hit all the points of what Team RWB really is, but just to give a little more emphasis on those who aren't fully aware, Team RWB, which stands for Red, White, and Blue, is a non-profit organization, is the largest nonprofit veterans organization supporting not only, as you said, veterans, but primarily, the intent is to support veterans, but you don't have to be a veteran to join Team RWB, and I'll talk that. But it is all about the health and wellness community for veterans. So they started in 2010, and it now is a community of 250,000 veterans, service members, and families alike, and supporters. And they call them Eagles, and you'll notice that's the emblem. So once you become Team RWB, and anybody's welcome to join, you become Eagle, and you're now part of Eagle Nation. So a big tribe, 250,000. They have literally thousands of events, both virtually, talk that, and in person every year across the United States. There, like I said, there was a little over 19,000 in 2024 alone. And it's all focused on building a healthy lifestyle. That's simply where it is. I would recommend, if someone is interested and wants to join Team RWB, download the app. It's called the Virtual Garrison. That is the best way to connect with your community, because there's probably near you, if not in your current city, a Team RWB Eagle leader. You can be as active or non as you want. The app is great because they have tons of virtual or in-person challenges or meetups, whether it's, hey, this week we're going to do a 5K walk along the river, the Potomac. You can walk it, bike it, ruck it, run it, whatever. Just come be with us as a community and just get out and be fit. There's also virtual challenges on the app. The great thing about the app is it is positive only. It is monitored very closely. Nothing negatives allowed. Nothing politicals allowed. It's all about positivity, supporting one another to meet your fitness fitness goals, your fitness and healthy lifestyle. So I did want to just talk a little bit about that. So an amazing organization that has a lot of opportunities to support, again, veterans and non-veterans alike. So OGUR, or the OGUR, Old Glory Ultra Relay. So this is a concept from Team RWB. It's to set a world record by running 1,500 miles, one flag continuously, as you stated, across the United States. And it does have to be done in 15 days or less. So Team RWB has moved a flag from San Diego to DC before, but they did it multimodal and it wasn't time based. So someone could be on a bike, someone could be running. So there are many different ways, and it wasn't time based. In other words, we have a set window to get it done to set a world record. This is the intent for the Old Glory Ultra Relay. This is the inaugural, which means Team RWB's intent is to do this more often. Ultimately, it's not, the A goal, B goal, and C goal. A is not necessarily to set the world record, to run the flag across the United States. The A goal is to draw the largest veteran awareness possible by large sponsorships, getting involved, advertising. So the United States understands that Team RWB is here. It is the largest. And to let veterans know, hey, this place exists for you to give you a better lifestyle, however that may look, and to give you support where you may need it. And so it's really to draw a much greater attention to Team RWB, so they can expand outreach, receive resources to support veterans. So if you look A goal, that's the A goal right there for this event. So Glory Ultra Relay. So what is it going to look like? It is 12 veterans. You have to be a veteran to run on it. And we have 3 crew chiefs, which all must be veterans. That's a requirement. We are further broke down. So 12 athletes further broke down into 3 teams of 8. So if you think there's 24 hours in a day, each team has to run 8 hours. So each 4-person team to make up 24 hours. So let's just take my team, which is Team Red. I have 4 members, 3 males, 1 female. In 8 hours, we must move our flag a certain amount of miles and time in that day. And then we will basically be resetting for 16 hours. Now, in that reset, I'll talk that. Now, in that 8 hours, each athlete must run about approximately 2 hours of that 8 hours. Because there's 8 hours, there's four of us, 2 hours. And we have to run anywhere from 15 to 17 miles every single day for 15 days. So you can already do the math. In 10 days, it's 170 something miles. That's a lot of mileage. That's a lot of pounding. That's a lot of impact on the body. So, and it has to be done at a certain pace. It cannot be, we're looking anywhere from, a 7:30 to a 7:50 pace. Now, not necessarily so bad when you're combining multiple days of this running. And oh, by the way, it could be altitude in Colorado, could be in the middle of the rain, and then add on a large 3x5 flag that has a lot of resistance to wind, can get heavy and weighed down with rain. It will be a challenge, and that's why it's to set a world record. It will be a challenge to make that 15 days, 1,500 miles in DC. So, three teams of four, we will run continuously relay style. So in my 8 hour shift, maybe I'm only running 1 hour at a time. I'm going out maybe as fast or whatever the case might be. I'm handing the flag off. I'm going to jump into an RV with three other athletes. We're on standby, or I guess two other athletes because one is running. And we're refitting, recovering. We're going to have cold plunge, mobile saunas, PTs, food setup. It is very well supported and sponsored. And then we are just following or bounding forward to the next transition point to hand the flag off. So, bottom line is, we'll run approximately 2 hours, 70 miles every single day for 15 days. Starting in San Diego, May 1st, ideally to set a world record. May 15th, we run across the nation's capital. They're still trying to figure out. They're working with the new SecDef. Maybe we end at the White House lawn. Maybe we end at the Capitol. That's still to be determined. So that's what it looks like. We have some great sponsors that are going to support us along the way. The route has been reconnaissance already, so we know turn by turn the full length of the route. Ultimately, that's what we're looking at. So going a little bit back to what you were saying, a goal, draw awareness to veterans, draw as much support as possible, so we can get the veteran community together and understood. B goal would be for our team to finish all together. There's a high likelihood that an injury can take place on an event like this. And for this, if an injury does take place, there are no tag-ins. So we start with 12. If someone gets injured, we're running with 11, 10, 9. It means we will fill up. Those are running will share the rest of the load of the task. So we'll be running longer. So yeah, to finish as a team would be incredible. Start as a team, end as a team. And then the SC goal is to set that world record. Some people would say, hey, why wouldn't that world record be first? That is the hardest. But let's think about why as a veteran we're doing what we're doing. We're trying to be something bigger than ourselves. World record would be amazing. The reality is world record is just for that organization, the 8 of us or the 12 of us running for veterans is a much bigger goal to draw awareness to the large veteran community and to draw sponsors to support, because it is a nonprofit organization, more support resources, Team RWB, so they can even do more events for veterans and to help a veteran who may be in crisis. That to me is a much bigger goal than to win to achieve a world record, which is, what I would say is the C goal as I look at it.
Brother, that tells everybody that watches this video, and hopefully the whole world sees that, about the kind of person that you are. Because like you said, easily you could make that world record, the team world, even as a team, like, this is what we want to do, this is what we're going to do, and that's going to be the A goal. But being able to take the organization and what you guys are trying to achieve and push it to being, we just want eyeballs, because the more eyeballs we can get, the more veterans we can help, and the more veterans we can help, the better the world becomes, right? And that just shows the type of man you are and the character that you have of being like, it's not about me. It is completely about the more eyeballs we can get for the more people that we can help.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And man, that's absolutely amazing. I can't wait to clip this up and send it to every single person that I know, and then hopefully we can get we're just gonna get this baby rolling. And, I know you have a couple of practice runs and everything like that coming up, so I can't wait to support you in any way possible. What would be the best way for people to support that cause, or just RWB in general,
Yeah,
besides the app? Because I'll link that below.
yeah, no, it's good. So best way to support is go on socials. IG Team RWB, Team Red, White, and Blue. Um, so they are going to be providing updates to the Ogre, OGUR, Old Glory Ultra Relay. You'll probably see hashtag Ogre, OGUR. And we will soon be given a donation link that doesn't go to just us. It goes to Team RWB and to support this endeavor. Where I will also put in my socials, but it'll also be in Team RWB. So if I would say one-stop shop, Team RWB on socials is the best first place. So you can maintain one understanding and updates of where we're at in this journey. The other piece I would say is there's going to be a lot of media as we get closer to the event. We get in San Diego, lots of media as the start. We're going to be doing media throughout the whole process. Team RWB will post in stories as well as our page. Each athlete, I'm going to post in stories. One of the things I'm looking to do is once the route is approved, which should be in a week or two, I'm going to start pushing it on social media because here's my challenge to veterans out there that say, hey, this is pretty cool. I wish I could run across the United States. I haven't run a mile since I got out, or I haven't run more than 5 miles since I got out, 5 years ago. Well, guess what? May 1st, this event starts. We got from now to May 1st. And when hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to be pushing out Team RWB, push out the route. If we are coming through your state or even close, here's an opportunity that you can be part of. Maybe you're not officially carrying the flag, but maybe we're coming by mile marker 113 near your city. Meet us because I will, along the route. I'm going to say, hey, we're in Denver tomorrow morning. Whatever the case may be, here's the route. Come link up, find us on the route and come run alongside of us. Maybe you haven't run 1 mile since you got, or 2 miles since you got out of the military. Now's the time that you could go ahead and put in a little work and come run 1 mile with us with a flag, or 2 miles, or maybe you just wanted to run a 5K before. Here's an opportunity to run at a certain pace, not too terribly fast, but that's obviously it's subjective. But you have time. If you just want to run 800 meters, it doesn't really matter. Come find the flag as it's coming through your state and come be part of it and run with us and be part of something super cool. And yeah, you're not alone in that. So that's a challenge that I will have and I'll put out there once that route is solidified, just to try to see whoever in your town or your city, your state that we're running through, come jump on and run a mile with us on the highway.
Man, you got me excited to start running again. That's an amazing challenge, and I think you're going to get a lot of people to start moving. So
Yeah,
I'll be looking out for that route. I'll push it out for you, with
cool.
you, not for you, with you. And thanks for saying and talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, brother.
And going through the ABCs and connecting it to something real life that's going to change a lot of lives.
Yeah, man, my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely. And before you go, I just want, hopefully you can indulge me with one last thing. If you could gift the world, society, the world today, just one thing, what would it be? I know it's a big question, and I
Woo-hoo!
didn't tell you on purpose because I want this is what I wanted.
Yeah, no, that is good. I mean, God, I would love to say health, peace. We hear that all the time. I'm gonna go with something, and a lot of people, people don't have to agree. That's good. Optimism. Give me optimism. If we could just instill a little bit of optimism, because we're all going to be facing trials and tribulations in life. We all are going to face sorrow, sadness, loss of life, loss of a job, sickness, illness. But if we can change our mindset, and just try to find ways to be optimistic. We already know the greatness that it can do in humanity when we see other people and ourselves to open up certain doors, to prevent doors from closing. It can create a much better, we already know, psychological mood. There are chemicals that take place in the body. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. If we can figure out a way just to become a little more optimistic and not always jump straight to pessimistic or woe is me, or this is tough. Why did this happen? Because things are always going to happen. It doesn't matter if I say everybody has health and prosperity. Trials and tribulations is a part of life. It's going to happen. If we can just mentally mindset and be a little more optimistic, that's going to grow, and it's infectious, and that spreads, and that can really change feelings and communities and connections all around us. So, yeah, I'm going to go with optimism.
Brother. I can't thank you enough, and I'm going to be optimistic for today and optimistic for everybody. We're going to get up, we're going to get out, we're going to get moving. We're going to set those ABCs for our life with our intentions, and we're going to follow the 3 Bs, because let me tell you what, brother, you were brilliant today, and I can't thank you enough. And I like to think less than an hour. We were brief. We covered a lot, and now we're gonna be gone. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And until next time,
Left foot, right foot, keep going.
yes, sir. Just keep moving.